pit fans, and welcome for the review of the last round of the season at Formula 1 in Abu Dhabi. And now let's start with the top 3 and the flop 3 of the race. Top 3 goes to Daniel Ricciardo. He finished the race at P6 and it was way ahead of his teammate for once. So it's been kind of a calm race for Daniel Ricciardo with some very clever moves like we used to see from him last year. And even though he finished his championship 3 points behind Daniel Kvyat, it was good for him, I think, to end this season on a high with the poor last part of the season he had. Top 2 goes to Ferrari. They had a mess in qualifying, just like they did in Canada, where Sebastian Vettel couldn't make it to Q3 because of a bad strategy. But Sebastian Vettel did a classic Vettel, as we are used to see from him in Abu Dhabi. It means starting from the back but finishing on the top. He was 4th, even if he was 30 seconds away from his teammate Kimi Raikkonen, who scored a podium for the last race of the season, which was pretty good for him because it secured him his 4th place in the championship. And in my opinion, Arriva Bene is right to say that his goal for next year is to catch up the Mercedes, because in my opinion he can. And top 1 goes to Force India. I don't know why, but this track seems to suit them. And we can see it by Checo's P4 in qualifying and by his really good pace during all weekend long, such as his teammate. And to get back on Sergio Perez, for me he had the best second part of the season of the grid. He was just like everywhere, and I think I haven't topped someone so much than Sergio Perez during the second half of the season. So hats off to Perez, and hats off to Force India, who for the first time made it to the top 5 of the teams for next year. And it's really good, and it really shows that they have the strongest lineup they ever had in history. And let's go for the flops, and flop 3 goes to Max Verstappen. I have to say, he kind of disappointed me this weekend. He didn't get any point, and he had a pretty much bad behavior on track with some moves, but dangerous ones. To me they looked like they were dangerous, and he had a pretty much bad behavior on track, like why do you ignore the blue flags? This is something that you need to learn, that you just can't ignore blue flags. This is something we're used to see from Caterham guys last year, and this is not something that a golden boy for Formula 1 is supposed to do, and I'm somehow glad that they penalised him for this, because he deserves to be penalised, and he needs to be a bit careful because he's up to 8 penalty points for the season, so it's pretty high for a young driver. Flop 2 goes to Pirelli. I'll go with a personal opinion of mine about tyres, but super soft tyres just didn't fit this track clearly. Both in GP2 and in F1 the super soft tyres just didn't last. It was trash, and it was pretty unlogical. Like, Pirelli has always lived with those conservative tyres, and here again, to me, they've been very conservative, because I think they ordered the teams to not do more laps with the soft tyres than they had ordered them to do. So that would explain why Sebastian Vettel pitted quite early in his first stint, and why Lewis Hamilton had to pit for another stint of soft tyres at the end of the race. And flop 1 goes to Valtteri Bottas / Williams. What was that pit stop, guys? This is not something that we want to see in Formula 1, especially from such a high team like Williams. That was maybe the most unsafe release we had this season, with only, if I may say so, Valtteri Bottas' front wing being destroyed by Jenson Button's car, and it made him lost maybe his race, I think, and he couldn't score any point because of this, and that made him lose that P4 in the championship to Kimi Räikkönen, which is pretty much a shame for both Williams and Valtteri Bottas. Picture of the weekend is the amazing view of Abu Dhabi by night with the end of the race. I still can't cope with the fact that Abu Dhabi has been chosen to host the last race of the season, but I have to admit that we could do with really worse views than this one. So thank you for watching, and thank you for following me for all this season. I will keep you updated about my future projects and plans for next year, as there will be a lot of change. So I might do a video by the end of the month of December, just to explain you all of this. Like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to go on Facebook and Twitter on my pages to keep you updated about the changes in junior formulas that will happen during the winter break, as the season is almost over for F1 except for Maina. It's been a real pleasure to vlog you all but 3 races this year, and I hope I will see you next year again, and I hope I will see you under the checkered flag in Melbourne.